Hey, this is Mr. Michael, and I'm going to talk to you about music theory and what you need to know of music theory for the Learning Groove music classes. So let's take a look here. Now, first of all, we're in the basic music theory section of your training on the TLG teacher website, and you'll see that only a basic knowledge of music theory is necessary to achieve the objectives of the Learning Groove music classes. You don't need to be a virtuoso musician. You don't even really have to play an instrument, although it definitely helps a lot to be able to play one. But there are some very basic things that you need to know, and we're going to guide you through it right here. So the main things you're going to need to do are to find the correct starting notes of a song. You're going to need to sing in key. So you got to be able to sing well enough to stay in key. You got to keep a steady beat, and you have to emphasize the tonic note of each song at the end of the song. So let's look in more detail. So what is a tonic note? The tonic, also called the resting tone or root note, or also the one of a song, scale, or key. In a C major key or scale, the tonic is the C note. C is also the tonic for C minor or other C modes. In the key of D major or minor, D is the tonic. E is the tonic for E major or minor, and so on. So basically the letter that you're using for a chord for the main chord of a song is the tonic. So let's take a look here. I have GarageBand open, and we're going to play our little virtual keyboard. So let's say we're in the key of C. That's a C right there on the keyboard. Let's say I said the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. That's the tonic right there. And the reason you need to know that for our classes is because at the end of each song you're going to say ta-da at the very end, and you're going to have the whole class do that with you. It's a lot of fun, and the kids enjoy it too. And in class, what I say is that not only is ta-da a way to congratulate ourselves on a song well sung, but it is emphasizing the root note or the tonic of every song. So educationally, the kids are starting to get this into their brains, and that's why you need to know the tonic. So now if I decided to do this in D major instead, which is actually the key of the song on our CD, there's D. So the wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town, ta-da. See, so it's a little bit higher if we're in the key of D. You could also do the wheels on the bus in the key of F. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. Ta-da! See, so the note that you start on and the key that you're in can change, although for the Learning Groove we want to try to do each song in the same key as it is on the recordings of the CDs, and there are a few advantages of this. Let's actually talk about that right now. What the heck? The reason that you need to know the tonic and you need to find the right starting notes for each song is because there are a few advantages for singing in the keys that we put the songs in on the CD. One of those is that we very carefully chose the recordings to be in the key in a singable range that's the easiest range for young children to sing, and also a compatible range for female adults, male adults, and children, all to sing comfortably. So you want your class to be able to sing comfortably. If a song is too high or too low, then you're going to have less of your parents singing along in class, and you're also going to have less children singing along. So that's one reason why you want to start on the right key. Another reason, which is less, I don't know, less what? Not less important, but another reason is that children who have the capability of developing perfect pitch, which is all children really, if you sing the song in the same key every time, they'll start to recognize that, and they're more able to develop perfect pitch than if you sing the song in different keys every day. So those are the two main reasons why we sing in the same key every day. All right, let's take a look back here again. So we just talked about the tonic, or the one of each song. Okay? Now we're going to explore something called an interval. The interval is the distance between two notes. So let's take a look. There are several different types of intervals. The smallest distance between two notes is a half step or a semitone. Those are synonyms for each other. So for instance, from C to C sharp or from C sharp to D. Let's take a look at our keyboard. So from C to C sharp, that's a semitone or a half step. La, la. You can't find any notes in between those two. It's the smallest distance. From C sharp to D, la, 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 la. That's also a semitone. So any two notes that are right next to each other are a semitone, okay? Or a half step. Now next, and just as a funny analogy or example rather, if you're familiar with the movie Jaws, then that gets really low. Well, let's go an octave lower here. That's a semitone. Here comes the shark. Anyway, that's a helpful tool for identifying a semitone. Alright, a whole step or a tone, another synonym, is the distance of two half steps. So for instance, from a C to a D or a C sharp to a D sharp. So this is twice the distance of a half step. So from C, that's a whole step right there. La, la. Or from D to E. La, 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 la. Now it wouldn't be from here to here, but that's a half step because there's no black key in between. That's a half step. That's a whole step. See the difference? Okay, so that's a whole step. And then the next one up, well actually the next one is a minor third and then a major third, but I went out of order here because a major third is more common in children's music. So the third is the third note in a scale, key, or chord. The major third is characterized by being 4 half steps from the tonic. Let's take a look. So for example, E is the major third of a C chord or scale. Here's a C. And if we go 4 semitones or half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. La, 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 la. That's a major third from a C to an E. And you can also think of it like this. The 1, the 2, the 3. 1, 2, 3. You see it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps away. And that's a major third. A minor third is characterized by being 3 half steps from the tonic. So for instance, E flat is the minor third of a C chord or scale. So if we go, here's our C, we go 1, 2, 3, that's a minor third. La, la, and here's a major third again. La, 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 minor third. La, 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 major third. La, 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 la. Now, a lot of times the minor third is thought of as being a little bit sadder, if you will. It's not always the case, but it's just a rough generalization of the character of a minor third versus a major third. Minor thirds tend to sound a little sadder, and major thirds a little happier. So, la la is a little sadder, but la 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 is a little bit happier. And moving on to the perfect fifth, which we are skipping a few of the intervals in the scale, but these are the most important ones that you'll need to know. The perfect fifth is the fifth note in the scale, key, or chord. It's characterized by being 7 half steps from the tonic. Example, G is the perfect fifth of a C chord or scale. So here's our C again. And we're going to go 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. La, 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 la. So a good example of that is Twinkle, Twinkle is a good way to remember your perfect fifth. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay, so once again we have the minor third, major third, perfect fifth, la, la, la. There's some old 80s song, oh, wee, yo, oh. Or, yeah, that's a good example. Anyway, so that's the perfect fifth, and I went ahead and spelled out here all of the most common intervals in order. Now, this is not as important for you to know or memorize, but it just might help you understand it better so that you don't have to do as much memorization and you can kind of get it more into your knowledge so that you really understand it. So, in this chart, we see the number of semitones, 0, going all the way up to 12, okay? So if you're 0 distance away from a note, then it's the same note. So it's called a perfect unison, which is a little bit of a redundant term, but it does exist. And down here in our musical staff, we'll see that the note is the note. So looking here, we got C, that's our 1, that's a perfect unison. Minor second, which we didn't talk about before, but that's the next one up. It's 1 semitone away. Major second is 2 semitones away, a whole step. Minor third is 3 semitones. Major third is 4 away. Perfect 4. And this is called augmented 4 or diminished fifth. It's also called the tritone. In ancient times, it was also called the devil's interval. Ooh. Jimi Hendrix song. Wow, no, wow, wow. Anyway, what song is that? I can't remember right now. But that's a tritone. Here's a perfect fifth. Minor sixth. Major 6, minor 7, whoops, major 7, and a perfect octave. Now, just to recap, you don't need to memorize all of these intervals. It just helps you in general. What you should retain from this little lesson is that you basically count in a scale from 1 to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you're in a major key, and there's the notes in between. The flavors of these are just have descriptive names, such as the 1, the minor 2, the major 2, the minor 3, the major 3, the perfect 4, augmented 4, diminished 5, perfect 5, minor 6, major 6, minor 7. Major 7, octave, or perfect eighth. And one thing to know about the octave is an octave is very common. It's very common for songs to be sung in octaves. For instance, females you often sing an octave above the male range. So if I were to go, the wheels on the bus go round and round, then a female might feel more comfortable singing up here. Wheels on the bus go round and round. And that still counts as being the same melody. Alright, so that was a quick description of intervals. And the only reason you need to know intervals is because as you do your tonal patterns, your tonal patterns in class with the children, you're going to need to just know how to do certain patterns, and these intervals will help you. And we'll look at that soon. So we're laying a foundation here for you. The next section of our music theory section is called triads. Now, a triad is basically another word for chord, although there are many chords that can have more or less than 3 notes in them. So a triad is basically a chord based on 3 notes. And there's 2 kinds of triads that we're going to focus on. There are other types, but for this, we're going to focus on the major triad and the minor triad. Now, most children's songs are in a major key and they have major chords in them. A major chord is made up of the 1 or the tonic, the major third, and the perfect fifth in a scale. So let's take a look, and it's usually thought of as a happy sound. I'm going to switch to this so I can play it all together. So here's our 1, 3, 5. Now play it all together. That is a major triad. 1, major 3, perfect 5. Major triad. Now the next type of triad we're going to look at is the minor triad, in which the notes are the 1, the minor 3, and also the perfect fifth. And it's often characterized by a sadder sound. So 1 minor 3 5, 1 minor 3 5, and together the triad would sound like this. So major triad, minor triad. So you can see the difference there. Alright, so those are triads. Now the main reason you're going to need to know those are for tonal patterns. You're often going to use an arpeggio of the triad. Arpeggio is just a fancy name for doing one note at a time in a chord. So here's the 1, 3, 5. A lot of times we'll say like bum, bum, bum. That'll repeat. Bum, bum, bum. Then we go down the scale. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Or we might go 1, 5. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so that's the reason we're going to need to know those. And if we're in a song that is a minor key, then we'll want to use the same thing in minor. Bum, 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 bum. So you can see it has a slightly sadder sound, and we want to make sure we expose the children to the minor sounds as well. So we've talked a lot about musical notes, and now we're going to look at rhythm. And after we do that, we're going to focus back in on the things that you need to do for your tonal patterns and your rhythm patterns. So once again, we're laying a foundation for you. Now in rhythm, there's a few terms that we're going to go over that will be applicable to your use in class. One is the macro beat. That is the main pulse of a rhythm. When you clap your hands to a song, you're usually demonstrating the macro beat. Often this is a series of quarter notes. So we'll stick with our wheels on the bus as our example. So the wheels on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, well, in this case, I think we go like this, so like that. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. The macro beat is a general term, and microbeat is also a general term. Microbeat is basically half of that beat. So we're going to, instead of just, for every beat you would do 2 beats. So we go, the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. So we got microbeat, macrobeat, microbeat, macrobeats. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. And the next term on our list is meter. Meter is the measurement of a musical line into measures of stressed and unstressed beats, indicated in Western music notation by a symbol called a time signature. So let's come over here to this on Wikipedia. If you have any familiarity with musical notation, this is 4/4. This is a time signature of 4/4, which is the most common meter. And, you know, our favorite song, The Wheels on the Bus, is in that meter as well. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And if you notice, it has a stressed and an unstressed beat. You got stress, unstressed, stress, not stress, stress, not stress, stress. So bum, 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 bum. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. That's in 4/4 because you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so meter is that measurement, and we have a couple of types of meter that we're going to talk about. Duple meter is the most common type of meter, and that's when the macro beat can be divided into 2 micro beats. So just like we just did, if you go the macro beat on The Wheels on the Bus is 1, 2, 3, 4. But when we did the micro beat, we did 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The wheels on the bus go round and round. Now, that's because it was each macro beat was divided into 2 micro beats. Now, sometimes a macro beat can be divided into 3 micro beats, which is called triple meter. And a waltz is a very common example of this. So let's take a look at, for instance, the Blue Danube Waltz. We do our version of that, which we call beep beep. So we say, I'm driving my car, beep beep, beep beep. So our macro beat is this. I'm driving my car, 2, 3, beep beep, beep beep. I have a loud horn, beep beep, beep beep. If you're in my way, notice I'm going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's not divided into 2, it's divided into 3. So if we were to do the micro beat on that, this is in triple meter, it would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So all you need to take away from this rhythm section as a summary is that beats you can have the macro beat and the micro beat, and some beats are divided into 2, and some beats are divided into 3. The ones that are divided into 2 make up the majority of music, especially children's music, and the ones that are divided into 3 are usually waltzes. There are other types of divisions, but we won't get into those types of details for this lesson. So I hope you understand all that, and when we do our rhythm patterns in class, you're going to need to know this, and we'll look at that in detail in the next video. In the next section of music theory, we're going to look at tonal patterns and rhythm patterns. Now, for right now, we're just going to briefly brush over the idea behind them, and we'll have a separate video in another section of this website that goes into more detail about tonal and rhythm patterns. So let's read this section. In language, sentences can be broken into sentence structures, including nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc., and words can be broken into syllables. Music can also be broken down into parts and patterns. One of our objectives in the Learning Groove is to stimulate children with non-verbal melodic and rhythmic patterns. By isolating the tonal and rhythm patterns that constitute a musical work, teachers help students comprehend how musical parts fit together to form musical wholes. In each class, teachers lead call and response melodic and rhythmic patterns that are not associated with words. At the end of a song, a teacher will lead directly into group patterns and then individual patterns with each child. So let's talk about that for a second. So the reason that we're doing tonal and rhythm patterns is because although children learn a lot just by singing these songs, which is incredibly powerful, and even just by listening to the CDs, they're making all kinds of brain connections that help them understand the subtle rhythmic patterns and melodic patterns that happen in the songs that we choose. But it's very helpful as well to isolate those patterns and to take them away from the words. So some children might be focused on just the words of a song, like they might know the words for "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round," but they might not be paying attention to the melody or the rhythm as much, and they might be focused on the words. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that, because as you listen to music, there's plenty of things you can focus on within a song. But the reason we do these patterns is to kind of make sure that they're also focusing on just the music. So if, for instance, if I were to go la 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 la, not all children are going to recognize that as the wheels in the bus without the words, but we want them to be able to. So one of the tools that we use are tonal and rhythm patterns. Now, for right now, we're going to skip ahead to what you need to do in class, and you can learn more about tonal and rhythm patterns in the next video, in the next section under this website. Okay, so let's move on ahead to what teachers need to be able to do. This is the most important thing for you. This is to sum it all up, how you use the information that I just gave to you. So number 1. To find the correct starting notes on a piano, guitar, pitch pipe, smartphone app, etc., and sing a song in the proper key. Okay, let's take a look at that. So I'm going to flip over here to an example syllabus. Here's the Outrageous Orange syllabus for week 1. Now if you notice, we have the song Twinkle Twinkle, the activity, we have the key, whoops, the computer's sliding away, and we also have the first notes written out for you. So if you needed to know how to sing Twinkle Twinkle in the right key, first of all, you have your syllabus printed out, and if you have a keyboard in class, you can come over here. You see C, C, G, G, A, A, G. Let's check that out here. go. That's how you'd find your notes. So you sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It might be easier to recognize this way. Okay, so that's if you have a piano with you. Now, if you don't, you might have a smartphone app. Let's say all you can do is find the starting note. Here's a guitar tuner app that I have for my Android, and you can sound C. So see, bum, 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 bum. Now you have to practice this a little bit to get the right notes. There's also plenty of smartphone apps that have little mini pianos. So this is C. And that'll help you find the notes too. Or you can use what's called a pitch pipe, which is a circular device usually that has a whole bunch of notes around it, and you just blow into it to get the pitches that you need. Whatever option you choose, you need to have a nice easy way to get the notes. I personally use my guitar because I have my guitar in class with me. But something like a smartphone app is nice because you can keep it with you in your pocket, and if you're about to lead a song, you don't want to have to necessarily always go back to your station. It's nice to have this with you. But there are many ways you can do that. So, for instance, if we wanted to do Inchworm, that also happens to be in C. It says C. I'll go like this: C C D E C. That's and hopefully you would learn the song from the CD ahead of time. So you go one little inchworm, C C D E C, and now you found your right pitch. So that's how you're going to find your starting pitch. Number 2, you need to be able to find the tonic note after a song for ta-da, with or without help from a keyboard. So once again, let's say it was Inchworm, one little inchworm climbing up a tree, and I'll skip ahead. Then we're on our way, ta-da. You need to be able to find that note. If we are doing Twinkle, 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 Little Star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Ta-da! You'll have to practice that a little bit. But that's the second thing you need to be able to do. And as I said before, this helps the children start to learn to identify the most important note of every song. There's one root note or tonic in every song, and we're just helping them associate that tonic note with the song. The third thing you need to be able to do is to find the 1, the 3, and the 5, whether it's a major or minor, of a song for tonal patterns. And you can do this with or without help from a keyboard or pitch pipe or guitar. So for instance, if I go Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, how I wonder what you are, and let's say I went into tonal patterns after that, it's very common to go into the 1, 3, bum, 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 which is 1, 3, 5, bum, 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 and then you have the class repeat, bum, 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 which is 5, 3, 1, bum, 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 and we'll look more at that in tonal patterns and rhythm pattern video. And number 4 is to improvise or memorize tonal and rhythm patterns to lead. So those are the things that you need to be able to do with this lesson on music theory. So now a quick summary of everything we just learned and how you'll use it. The tonic. You will need to know the tonic so you can say the ta-da at the end of a song. Intervals. Intervals were basically the building blocks of major third and minor third triads. You needed to know intervals so that you could know how to say bum, 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 which outline the triads. A major triad is bum, 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 and a minor triad is bum, 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 with a slightly different note. So you needed to know how to outline those, and that's what these are the building blocks for. With rhythm, you just need to know the macro beat, the micro beat, and whether the micro beat is split into 2 as in duple meter or in 3 as in triple meter. So if you're singing the wheels on the bus go round and round, that way you can say bum, 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 bum. Class repeats, bum, 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 bum. That's in duple, or in triple meter, I'm driving my car, beep, 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 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, bum, 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 bum. And that's how you're going to do triple meter rhythm patterns. And that's pretty much it. So stay tuned for the next section of the training website, which talks more in detail about how you can use your tonal and rhythm patterns. And happy teaching.